So if we handle applications the same way we do offers as property managers, it really can put you in a spot. A lot of cities, and I think Seattle was the first state to put it in place, that it needs to be a first come, first serve, because what landlords were doing, they got an application that was approved technically, but they didn't quite like it. Maybe they had kids. So let's keep the property active a little bit longer, see if we can get a better offer. And so think about it, if you say you get 3 applications and you take all 3 of them and you spread them out in front of your owner and say, pick which one you want. The owner might say, you know, I don't really want this one because they have kids. Kids are harder on a house. Did you just violate fair housing?
And discriminate.
Yeah, so you have to be, now if you handled offers, well, if we get 3 offers on a house, we're like, here's 3 offers. Woohoo, great. Which one do you want? You're looking at terms and all. Just be very careful, because if that first application turns out that you've had it for a day before the second one came in and they were both approved, and you went with the second one, the first one could say, why did you hold my application up? And could be because of kids. So just be very, very careful. We, as a company policy, we don't allow our owners to make the decision on the apps. It's an internal thing for us, because an owner might not think, oh, they have kids. Kids are going to mark up the walls. That's a fair housing issue. So just be very careful letting the owner. And you might want to add to that and thoughts on it too. But.
So you're the one vetting the tenants, and you're saying number 1 gets the spots?
It is in our management agreement that we are allowed to make the decisions, and we follow a point system, which keeps us clear from any kind of fair housing, kind of like a lending process. We get the application, credit score, background check, and all that stuff goes into it. And then if I got an application that's approved and it came in at 12 o'clock and I got another one at 12:02, first come, first serve. If they're approved, they basically have a certain amount of time to pay their deposit and sign the lease. If not, then we'll move to the next one. But if you spread out 2 applications in front of an owner, you just kind of open yourself up to some additional liability.
And so it's an interesting point.
Does that make sense and answer your question?
It does. We make the decision. I don't let the owner make the decision. And we're looking strictly on their qualifications, what their credit looks like,
Okay.
what their rental history looks like. And number 4 might be better than number 1. So I'm just curious as to, how you...
It's a tricky situation you can kind of get into, and kind of what we've developed is, this is our standard. If you're like a loan, if you're above this number and it's an internal point system, you're approved, that person should have the first right, basically 24 hours to pay sign the lease and pay the deposit, because cities like Seattle, San Francisco, New York has come out with policies saying you need to go in order by the time you receive it, because landlords were holding up positions and stuff.
Huh. Well, we don't have that mandate here in North Carolina. So I'm going to expand a little bit and say your policy is totally fine. And you can say we're going to take the first one who meets our level and bam. But you can also say we're going to wait till 4 applications come in, and then we're going to vet those and score those the same, right? So we're going to apply our standards to all 4 of these applicants, and the best one out of the 4 is going to become the tenant. But I want you to make sure you're clear to them. We have a system, everyone's treated equally, and we're going to choose the person with the best inherent score in their application. Because I do think you have a mandate for your landlord to find the best tenant. So I think Mark is doing that by saying, okay, I'm going to take the first one that it meets our standard, because that'll be fast, right? And it meets the standard. You could be doing the same thing in a different way, saying, okay, we're gonna accept applications until Thursday. And once all those applications are in, we're going to grade them. And then the top one out of those applications is going to be the one we're going to choose. But I totally agree that it's very problematic to let your landlord make the decision. If you're going to do that, you can avoid some liability. However, typically what I've seen when landlords make the call is you start getting into fair housing problems. They have their own internal criteria of what they think they want to happen with their property, and you end up having the brunt of the problems from it. So.
Don't be afraid to fire yourself. Yeah. And get rid of your landlord.
Don't be afraid to fire yourself and get rid of the landlord. Make sure your property management agreement has your ability to say, if we disagree or if I'm not feeling that you're following my advice, then I have the right to walk away without notice. Bam, we're done. Here are your keys. Here's the security deposit. I had one really bizarre case where the property manager, the landlord would not listen to the property manager, was causing problems with the tenant, was driving by at all hours, knocking on the doors, wanting to get in. I know something bad's going on in there. You've had this happen. And finally, the landlord said, or my client, the property manager said, I want out. We're not getting along. You're not following my advice. Why are we doing this stupid dance? Which is appropriate in this class. And they said, let's just go our separate ways. We'll send you all your stuff. And the landlord said, oh no, I'm not letting you out of this contract. You're going to manage my property for the next 5 months. Because there was nothing in the agreement that allowed the property manager to fire himself. He was stuck. I felt so bad for him. Because, I mean, normally you want to get out of the contract. You figure, hey, they want to get out too. No. They wanted to punish the property manager. It really is the way I saw it. They just wanted to just be able to call. So what I ended up doing is saying, you can tell him that he is no longer allowed to come to your office, that he's no longer allowed to call you, that everything you do should be by email because he was abusive to staff and all of this. So you're allowed to set the tone for your relationship with your clients, but make sure you have a way to walk away if they're not listening to you.